Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Martial Universe based on novel. So let's start. Ghastly Puppet City sat within Great Desolate Province's impressive and famous mysterious Black Yin mountain range. Throughout the year, a formidable bone-cutting cold enveloped this mountain range, hence ordinary people did not dare to stay here for too long, or else the cold chi would enter their bodies and freeze their blood. It was said that there was an even more terrible and renowned Mother Earth mysterious Black Yin crevice in the deepest part of the mysterious Black Yin mountain range. No one knew how deep this mysterious Black Yin crevice was, and an extremely terrifying cold primal wind gathered there. Within it, cold primal wind attacked from all directions, resulting in the formation of countless cold primal vortexes of various sizes. Once pulled into one, even a manifestation stage practitioner would be faced with certain death. Hence, the Mother Earth mysterious Black Yin crevice was undoubtedly a forbidden area within the mysterious Black Yin mountain range. Even among the many mountain ranges within the entire Great Desolate Province, the area covered by the mysterious Black Yin mountain range ranked among the top. The mountain range was overflowing with demonic beasts, and it was unknown how many powerful practitioners had died there. Furthermore, there were many alluring treasure remnants within the mountain range, and from time to time, some fortunate fellows would find places where some powerful practitioners had fallen, thus obtaining numerous martial arts and even soul treasures. Due to this fact, although the mysterious Black Yin Mount range was very dangerous, it was one of the most popular places within the Great Desolate Province. And Ghastly Puppet City was established by the Ghastly Puppet cult on the main mountain of the mysterious Black Yin mountain range. The entire city was built on the mountain, an extremely magnificent sight. Numerous figures came and went within it, testament to its almost terrifying popularity. Lin Dong stood at the foot of the mysterious Black Yin mountain, as he gazed at the incomparably huge city, a little amazement in his eyes. This was the first time he had seen such a grand city, and in comparison, Yang City was simply akin to a rural village. Ghastly Puppet City extended from the foot of the mountain to its peak, and along the way, there were countless streets. Each street was spacious and orderly as crowds flowed within them, wrapping the entire mountain in a bustling noises. No one could imagine that there was actually such a grand city within this perilous mysterious Black Yin mountain range. There is my arrest warrant on the city walls. Lin Dong slightly narrowed his eyes. He was able to see his picture all over the city entrance area. This meant that he could not enter from the front. Now that the Ghastly Puppet cult has suddenly become so secured, troops from many other factions must have rushed over. Lin Dong's eyes looked towards the deep mountains surrounding Ghastly Puppet City. Faintly, he was able to sense some mysterious and powerful auras. Looks like the actions of the Ghastly Puppet cult this time were seriously too conspicuous. They want to break the seal on the devouring ancestral symbol, hence they will naturally not dare to make even the smallest mistake. This mysterious Yin mountain is surrounded by an extremely dense cold chi, forming a natural protective screen. If anyone forcibly charges in, it will alert the entire guard. Little Martin stood on Lin Dong's shoulder and explained, "Do you have any ideas?" Lin Dong nodded his head, feeling a minor headache. As expected of the Ghastly Puppet cult headquarters, their defenses were practically flawless. Upon hearing this, Lin Dong sighed in relief. His eyes swept about before his figure moved. Bypassing the main entrance, he looked for a place where the defense was relatively weaker. For this infiltration, Lin Dong did not bring along Little Flame, and instead had it outside waiting for his signal. After all, there were numerous powerful practitioners within Ghastly Puppet City, and if they were somehow discovered, it would become a little troublesome. The mysterious Black Yin mountain was extremely vast. Even with Lin Dong's speed, a single trip around the foot of the mountain wasted a whole half an hour. Fortunately, he still managed to find an empty area with relatively weaker defenses. Lin Dong hid within the forests as he stared at the huge city wall before him. From time to time, Ghastly Puppet cult guards patrolled atop the city wall. After observing for some time, Lin Dong discovered the patterns of the patrols. He only needed to break the cold chi protective screen before being able to enter the city in an instant without alerting anyone. Go. This quiet wait lasted for about 10 minutes, before Lin Dong's figure suddenly burst forth, and flew towards the top of the city walls. As Lin Dong charged up the city walls, the dense cold chi immediately cut at him like sharp blades. They were formidable and chaotic, as felt as if they wanted to shred Lin Dong to bits. In the face of the cold chi, Lin Dong did not dare to use Yuan power to protect his body, afraid that he would be discovered by the ghastly puppet cult practitioners. Thankfully, little Martin swiftly made its move, its claws dancing as a circle of purplish-black membrane of light appeared around Lin Dong. Once this light membrane appeared, the tearing cold chi instantly disappeared. It looked as if it was directly gobbled up by the black-colored light membrane, such that there wasn't even the slightest bit of disturbance. From these information, Lin Dong found out that most of the ghastly puppet cult practitioners were already gathered at the mountain top. The ghastly puppet cult leader must plan to combine the might of the ghastly puppet cult there to break the seal on the devouring ancestral symbol. Moreover, the time to break the seal was likely 5 hours later, in the instant when the sun and moon alternated. At that time, the mysterious black yin mountain cold chi will become extremely powerful, and the ghastly puppet cult may borrow the power of the cold chi to increases the chances of breaking the seal. 5 hours later. Is the ghastly puppet cult leader really so impatient? Lin Dong looked towards the depths of the city, the mysterious black yin mountain peak, as he mumbled to himself, heh, now that he has caused such a commotion, he naturally needs to swiftly deal with it, so as to avoid long nights of restlessness. Little Martin chuckled in Lin Dong's mind. Lin Dong nodded his head. Soon after, he swiftly strode towards the depths of ghastly puppet city. Since that was so, he needed to quickly reach the mountain top. The deeper into ghastly puppet city he went, the tighter the security was. Moreover, many practitioners within ghastly puppet cult focused on mental energy cultivation, hence their sensing powers were extremely keen. Thus, even with little Martin's help, Lin Dong did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. After wasting 2 or 3 hours, Lin Dong finally successfully broke through the layers of security and reached the mysterious black yin mountain top. The mysterious black yin mountain top was extremely spacious, and many imposing buildings towered on it. At the center, there was a plaza that was almost 1,000 meters wide. The plaza was made of black rock, and endless cold chi faintly diffused from below, condensing into a cold fog which spread out in the sky. Lin Dong stood in the shadow of a tall building. At this moment, his presence had been completely concealed with little Martin's help, and even his breathing had become extremely slow. It was likely that even a manifestation stage practitioner would be unable to discover him. As he hid in the shadows, Lin Dong looked down onto the huge plaza in the distance. At this moment, the plaza was occupied by countless ghastly puppet cult practitioners. These figures were scattered about, each person standing at a strange position, forming an extremely enormous formation. Lin Dong licked his lips as his heart thumped violently. He suddenly lifted his head, only to see 3 figures slowly flying over in the skies in front of the plaza, before steadily landing at the center of the plaza, the ghastly puppet cult's 3 manifestation stage practitioners. As he stared at the 3 figures, Lin Dong's pupils instantly shrank. From the trio, he sensed an oppressive aura, which he had never before felt even from Kaozhan. Evidently, these 3 fellows were the ghastly puppet cult leader and the 2 great elders. Above the gigantic black plaza, 3 figures slowly descended into the center of the plaza. When these 3 figures descended, the surrounding elite ghastly puppet cult practitioners instantly kneeled down, before their orderly and synchronized greetings immediately echoed forth. Greetings sect leader, left and right great elders. Among the 3 of them, the man in front was dressed in dark red robes, while a strand of his hair gave off a dark and mysterious glow. Occasionally, when a gentle breeze passed by and roused his hair, it actually squirmed, just like a black hole, while a suction force faintly emerged. Based on this man's look, he seemed like a middle-aged man and his face was exceedingly pale. Between his knitted eyebrows was filled with a calm and majestic aura. However, the cold curvature on his thin lips led one to understood that this man was no kind-hearted Buddha. And he was the current sect leader of ghastly puppet cult, Ting Sho. Standing beside Ting Sho were 2 white-haired elder who had stuck their hands into their sleeves. These 2 elderly men had skinny and bone-dry faces and both of their eyes were shut, giving off the impression that they were about to fall asleep. However, at the same time, the terrifying aura given off by both of their bodies constantly reminded everyone that they were not ordinary individuals. And these 2 elders were the highest-ranked members in ghastly puppet cult after Ting Sho. At the same time, they were called the left senior elder and right senior elder. These two men were both famed elite practitioners in Great Desolate Province, and they were akin to Ting Sho's left-hand and right-hand men. Right now, that left senior elder opened his eyelids before his eyes swept across the plaza. When he saw the beautiful night sky surrounding the mysterious Black Yin Mountain, a heart-palpitating cold flowed within his dark and stained eyes. Clan leader, are you sure that you want to gather our entire clan in order to break the seal on that object? Right now, there are several people lurking around. Based on this old man's calculations, the Great Devil Sect and Marital Alliance should probably be hidden around. The left senior elder retraced his gaze as he nonchalantly said, "Don't worry, this ghastly puppet city is not a place where anyone can enter according to their whim and fancy. Once we destroy the seal contained within, I can swiftly ascend to Nirvana stage. At that time, notwithstanding the entire Great Desolate Province, even in the entire Great Yang Empire, there will be hardly anyone that can match up with me." Ting Sho shook his head. Based on his tone, it seemed like he was not too worried, now that all the ghastly puppet cult elite practitioners have gathered here. With regards to Ting Lei, we may be unable to continue to search for him. The right senior elder also opened his mouth and said. After Ting Sho's voice landed, the various elite ghastly puppet cult practitioner immediately shouted out, before they all stepped back together. Then, they bit their tongues. A mouthful of essence blood filled with rich yuan power was violently ejected. Those yuan power filled with essence blood quickly transformed into blood streaks in mid-air, before they slowly spread out. In mere minutes, an approximately 100 feet large blood formation, glistening with blood, quickly emerged above the plaza. When that gigantic blood formation appeared, all of the yuan power in the domain instantly began to rage. Immediately, scattered across the mountain, countless pairs of eyes turned to look at that gigantic glowing blood formation above the mountain peak. Everyone knew that the matter that the ghastly puppet cult has been plotting for a while has already begun. Activate the underground yin energy. As he stared at that gigantic blood formation, Ting Sho once again shouted out. What is the ghastly puppet cult trying to do? Such a terrifying large formation. Even a manifestation stage practitioner would have to avoid it. Yeah, what are those fellows trying to do? Don't tell me that there is a Nirvana stage practitioner intending on attacking them. Countless whispers instantly erupted outside the entire ghastly puppet city, while shock and fear was plastered on several people's face. Evidently, they were perplexed over why the ghastly puppet cult would suddenly gather their entire cult out of the sudden and execute such a terrifyingly large formation, such a formidable formation. It can actually communicate with the yin energy inside this mysterious Black Yin Mountain. That Ting Sho is indeed quite skilled. Lin Dong stealthily hid within the shadows as he lifted his head and stared at that gigantic blood formation that obscured the skies, while a solemn expression flashed across his eyes. If he was not somewhat skilled, how would he dare to break the seal? Nonetheless, it is not such a simple matter to break the seal. That Black Eye Elder's ability was practically godlike. Even if it were a seal that has been left behind for several thousand of years, it is still something not to be underestimated. Little Martin chuckled. After he slammed his palm, the entire mountain seemed to have shook. Then, an exceedingly vicious yet ingenious force emerged from Ting Sho's palm, just like a spider web. Soon after, the center of the plaza instantly crumbled, while a gigantic black hole immediately appeared in front of Lin Dong's eyes. The instant that black hole appeared, the Destiny Soul symbols in Lin Dong's Niwen Palace instantly began to shake vigorously. At the same time, Lin Dong began to sense an ancient and vast sensation stealthily seeping out from within that black hole. This sensation, it is indeed the devouring ancestral symbol. Little Martin also felt that sensation, before it instantly became excited. Then, an excited deep roar sounded out inside Lin Dong's heart. In the gigantic plaza, a tiny tremor instantly emerged. However, under the stare from countless pairs of eyes, a black glow suddenly extended out from within that black hole. Immediately, that glow began to slowly rise up before it finally hovered right below that gigantic blood formation. The instant that black glowing ball emerged, Lin Dong suddenly gripped his fist, before his eyes instantly turned blood red, as he stared right above at that black glowing ball. That black glowing ball was approximately 10 meters large, while black glow was scattered across the surroundings. However, through that glowing light, Lin Dong could still briefly make out that at the deepest region of that glowing ball, there was an approximately skull-sized ancient symbol hovering silently within. The symbol held an indescribable ancient scent. Even the scent of the ancient sect in the ancient tablet was unable to compare with it. The black ancient symbol was hidden within the deepest region of that glowing ball, just like it had fallen asleep. However, when that ancient symbol began to vibrate, it actually transformed into various black hole structures, while a terrifying vibration that could consume everything steadily seeped out and even caused a change in the heavens, devouring ancestral symbol. Since Lin Dong used too much force, his fingers even began to bite into his palm. His eyes stared fervently at that black glowing ball. In order to obtain this item, he had labored endlessly and traveled painstakingly from Yang City to Great Desolate Province, and even barged into the ancient tablet space. At long last, he had finally met this legendary object. Ha ha, Lin Dong, if we are not mistaken, that is indeed the devouring ancestral symbol. Once you obtain it, in the future, you shall become a legendary world-class practitioner. Little Martin was evidently extremely excited, while its maniacal laughter continuously rang out inside Lin Dong's heart. Just as Lin Dong stared at that black glowing ball, he suddenly saw red glow scattering from within that large blood formation. Immediately, his heart turned cold while he promptly clenched his palm slowly. He knew that Ting Sho was about to break the seal within. The blood formation squirmed like a huge sinister mouth. Below the huge mouth was the black-colored ball of light. Yet, in the face of such a powerful blood formation, the black light ball was not disturbed at all. It quietly floated in mid-air, as if it did not feel the oncoming danger. Under countless open and secret gazes, Ting Sho stared at the black light ball. Moments later, his body slowly floated upwards, his hands lightning quick as they formed several seals in succession. Soon after, an extremely humongous yuan power light pillar flew out from his hands, before finally entering the enormous blood formation in the sky. Boom boom. Following Ting Sho's actions, the originally already rather berserk blood formation immediately started to churn violently. Layer after layer of blood light was emitted, like blood clouds as they enveloped the great formation. Faintly, even the thunder could be heard. 9 yin mysterious black devil formation, destroy. Blood light filled the sky. Under the blood light, Ting Sho's figure was just like a demon god, wearing a serious expression as the seals change. His finger suddenly pulled and immediately, the yuan power of the land screamed as the endlessly churning blood light instantly whizzed out, lightning quick, as they formed into blood-colored pillar of light that was several tens of meters large. With a bang sound, it tore apart the sky and ruthlessly slammed into the black light ball below under the attention of countless gazes. Staring at the blood light pillar that brought with it an extremely maniacal energy as it bombarded downwards, Lin Dong's pupils abruptly tightened while his fist instantaneously clenched. Boom. Under Lin Dong's unblinking gaze, the blood light pillar practically descended in an instant, heavily crashing into the black light ball. At the instant of impact, the calm and motionless black light ball finally moved. A circle of weak black light slowly spread out from within, allowing the blood light pillar to fall onto it. A loud sound accompanied by an extremely powerful energy shockwave spread out in a ring shape, but the shocking thing was that the seemingly frail black light circle did not move at all under the blood light pillar's fierce bombardment. Only its surface rippled a little. 9 yin mysterious black devil formation, power of 9 yin, 1000 annihilation technique. An icy roar carrying unyielding yuan power fell like thunder as it rumbled in the sky while the blood-colored light formation violently trembled. An endless stream of black-colored cold chi diffused out of the mountain before being completely absorbed into the blood formation. Rumble. The great formation shook and suddenly, the sky filled with blood light and the black cold chi gathered, directly transforming into a titanic 100-meter large black dragon. The enormous dragon was condensed by the yuan power of numerous ghastly puppet cult practitioners, and the mysterious black yin mountain underground cold chi. With its power, even an initial manifestation stage practitioner would find it difficult to match. Roar. The black dragon took shape, and let out an earth-shattering roar towards the sky. Soon after, its gigantic body swung, transforming into a black bolt of lightning as it slammed towards the black light ball below. As the enormous body moved, it caused the explosion of countless yuan power. This power was certainly dreadful. In an instant, the black dragon descended onto the black light ball. This time, the black-colored light film did not achieve the same effect it had before. Faced with the boundless power contained within the black dragon's body, violent ripples erupted on the black light film. In the end, it directly exploded with a bang. Ha ha, no matter how strong the seal is, it would be difficult to resist my ghastly puppet cult's power. When he saw the light film explode, the elders on the left and right were delighted as they laughed. The seal is about to be broken. Upon seeing this scene, Lin Dong's heart clenched. As the Black Eye Elder's finger pointed, an extremely mysterious power poured out from his fingertips. Immediately, roaring black dragon started to tremble as its body actually turned deathly grey in an instant. Even the vigorous Yuan power contained within it seemed to have the life taken out of it as it dissipated into nothingness. This Lin Dong was somewhat astonished as he stared at the fading black dragon. In that instant, he had the kind of feeling as if the Yuan power of the land had died under the Black Eye Elder's finger. Even the Yuan power of the land could be killed. What kind of terrifying power was this? Power of death. The Black Eye Elder was actually so strong that he was already able to control the power of death. Controlling life and death with a flip of his hand. At this moment, a shocked voice sounded out from little Martin's mouth, power of death. Lin Dong was stunned. He had never heard of this kind of power before. Don't dwell on it too much. This kind of power is not what the current you can hope for. Even Nirvana stage practitioners are unable to touch this mysterious power. Perhaps, you may reach this heaven-reaching step in future. Little Martin smiled and elaborated. Lin Dong let out a bitter laugh. Indeed. The current him had to look up to even manifestation stage practitioners. In his eyes, the Nirvana stage was already a legendary existence, let alone this kind of mysterious stage that was able to control life and death. It was something he could not even imagine. After gobbling up such an amount of pure Yuan pills, the great formation, blood clouds surged. A gigantic blood-colored eye actually appeared at the center of the formation. Under the shine of the blood-colored eye, the Yuan power of the land detonated in mid-air without reason, transforming into surging ripples as they spread outwards. Around the mysterious Black Yin mountain, countless gazes fixed onto the enormous blood-colored eye in the sky. Without exception, everyone's faces changed color. The energy undulations from the eye was so powerful that it caused one's scalp to turn numb. Such powerful energy undulations. Lin Dong's pupils also shrank, due to the astonishment of feeling the undulations gushing out of the blood-colored eye. Soon after, he carefully suppressed his aura. He knew that if the blood-colored eye shined on his body, today would definitely be a disaster. 9 Yin mysterious black devil formation, 9 Yin blood eye. When the blood-colored eye formed, a strong confidence rose in Ting Sho's heart. This attack was enough to annihilate an initial manifestation stage practitioner. Although the phantasm was undoubtedly incomparably powerful when it was alive, it was now merely a pitiful and incomplete shadow of itself. Mischievous old fellow, watch how cult leader destroys your seal. Confidence overflowed in his heart as Ting Sho took a step forward. His fingers danced as his furious roar rang out. The gigantic blood-colored eye at the center of the formation immediately opened as a ray of blood light tore through the skies, mixed with an extremely berserk aura as it exploded forth. An empty and ancient voice suddenly slowly sounded out from the Black Eye Elder phantasm's mouth. Under countless gazes, it once again extended a finger and lightly pointed at the seemingly solid blood light. As the Black Eye Elder phantasm's finger pointed out, a grey color seemed to instantaneously appear across the entire land. Some of the huge lush trees swiftly started to wither, as if their life force had been completely sucked away. Furthermore, some of the nearer ghastly puppet cult practitioners felt to their astonishment white hairs gradually appearing on their heads, as their life force seemed to fade away, quickly retreat. This sudden change directly caused the left and right elders' expressions to change abruptly. Formidable Yuan power burst out from their bodies and completely wrapped around them as their figures hastily retreated backwards. There was a faint fear in their eyes. They could feel an indistinct sucking force from the Black Eye Elder's body. Under that sucking force, their life force was being sucked away. The left and right elders were naturally the most fearful of this kind of life force sucking. They were rather old and their remaining life could be counted with their fingers. If any was lost, they would likely turn to dust on the spot. Upon seeing the two retreat in astonishment, panic rose up in the ghastly puppet cult practitioners' hearts. Fortunately, they were after all the ghastly puppet cult's elite, and did not appear overly panicky, while they quickly drew back in an orderly manner. The instant the blood-colored eye was hit, it became a deep black color. The eye slowly drooped down and with a bang sound, it finally exploded to dust. Next, the blood-colored Great Formation, which covered the sky, started to blow up. The entire Great Formation shattered to pieces in an instant. As the Great Formation was destroyed, the complexions of the numerous ghastly puppet cult practitioners below turned red, and they vomited mouthfuls of fresh blood. For a time, the entire ground was dyed red by fresh blood. Evidently, they had all suffered backlash. They have failed. Hidden in a secret place, Lin Dong stared at the injured ghastly puppet cult practitioners, and could not help but gasp in his heart. Soon after, he fearfully looked towards the black-eye elder phantasm, which was above the black-colored light ball. It was merely an incomplete remnant that had gone through thousands of years, yet, even the entire ghastly puppet cult could not contend against the power contained within it. Lin Dong had no doubts that if the black-eye elder phantasm possessed a little offensive ability, rivers of blood would flow and corpses would be everywhere. The destruction of the blood formation caused countless people outside Ghastly Puppet City to be taken aback. No one expected that the combined power of the entire Ghastly Puppet cult would actually fail in the end. Night shrouded the land, but the outside of mysterious Black Yin Mountain was deathly quiet. At this moment, the gazes of many factions and practitioners were frantically flickering. Now, even a fool would know that there was definitely an extremely powerful treasure within the black-colored light ball, or else it would not possess such a frightening seal, and the ghastly puppet cult would not pay such outrageous price to break it. This kind of treasure caused everyone to be tempted. Even though they knew that it temporarily belonged to the ghastly puppet cult, it still failed to suppress the greed in some people's heart. In front of a genuine treasure, even one's life becomes a cheap object. What more the majesty of the ghastly puppet cult? How is this possible? Nonetheless, Ting Sho's body slightly shook. After paying such a huge price, was he still going to end up empty-handed? Right now, the left and right elders dashed into mid-air and appeared beside Ting Sho. They stared at the black-eye elder phantasm that was hovering on a glowing disc, before they involuntarily smiled painfully and said, "Sect leader, it seems like we should take the long view on this matter. Now that we have revealed that we possess a major treasure, it would undoubtedly stir attention." "Ha ha, Ting Sho, I never expected that your ghastly puppet cult actually has such a treasure. I think that you are too stingy. Such a major treasure, if you had taken it out for us to enjoy together, it would have been solved long ago. Then, you would not need to suffer the humiliation today." Just as left and right senior elders spoke, a loud laughter suddenly ricocheted in mid-air. Then, several splitting wind sounds emerged, before three figures appeared in mid-air. These three figures were all dressed in black. The one in front was a middle-aged man. This man had the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear. Both of his eyes were glimmering, while a formidable glint flowed faintly within. Meanwhile, an exceedingly formidable aura with a domineering force continuously emerged from within his body. Standing behind him, two similarly skinny elderly men were all smiles, while the skin on their body were dark, just like black steel. "Mulei. Your great devil sect also wants to intervene in my ghastly puppet cult's matters." As he stared at the three of them who had suddenly appeared, Ting Sho's face instantly darkened before he coldly shouted out, "Mulei. So it's actually the head of Great Devil Sect. Great guy. He is actually our initial manifestation stage practitioner." Lin Dong stared at this sight, before his eyes froze. Promptly, a tinge of smile emerged on his face. This situation was getting more and more chaotic. However, this was precisely what he needed. "Ha ha, what are you saying, Ting Sho? Your ghastly puppet cult is clearly unable to handle this kind of precious treasure. Instead of wasting your effect, why not we study it together? Maybe we might even find out something." While thoughts were turning in Lin Dong's head, another laughter rang out in the skies. Quickly, another three figures appeared in the sky, Martial Alliance Chief, Wu Zong. Lin Dong gazed at the three figures, which had appeared as the smile on his face grew increasingly wide. The people who had appeared this time were also one of Great Desolate Province's top three factions, the Martial Alliance, and the strength of this trio was not the least bit weaker than the Great Devil Sect. In mere moments, the leaders of the three top great factions had actually all arrived. As the parties from both sides arrived, the outside of Ghastly Puppet City immediately became restless. Countless practitioners hidden in secret places gradually showed themselves and looked at the black-colored light ball with eyes filled with greed. Upon seeing this scene, Ting Sho's and the rest's expressions gradually darkened. They had clearly underestimated the allure of the black-colored light ball. Not only had it drawn the Great Devil Sect and Martial Alliance, even some of the other factions and practitioners had suppressed their fear of the ghastly puppet cult and started to become restless. Ha. Ting Sho. I'm very curious as to exactly what is in the light ball. To actually possess such a powerful defense. Great Devil Sect's Mu Lei heartily laughed. Soon after, his eyes flashed as he suddenly reached out, a gigantic Yuan power hand instantly forming and grabbing at the black-colored light ball. The instant Mu Lei made his mode, Martial Alliance's chief, Wu Zong, also chuckled and moved. Another giant Yuan power hand formed and rushed towards the black-colored light ball. You dare. When he saw Mu Lei and Wu Zong make their moves, Ting Sho's eyes instantly turned dark, as a furious roar resounded across the entire ghastly puppet cult. All ghastly puppet cult practitioners heed my order. Whoever dares to touch my ghastly puppet cult's possessions will be killed without warning. The furious roar sounded out, instantly adding a ghastly killing intent to the dark night. Upon hearing Ting Sho's stern shout that was full of murder, the numerous ghastly puppet cult practitioners orderly shouted in reply. Overflowing killing intent soared up to the heavens, causing the already windy and chilly sky to become increasingly colder. Although many ghastly puppet cult practitioners had some injuries due to the Great Formation being broken, they were after all one of the Great Desolate Province's 3 top factions. No matter what state they were in today, this was still the ghastly puppet cult's old nest. If others wanted to mess around, without a little capability, they would truly only be courting death. As the overflowing killing intent erupted, the originally restless practitioners suddenly became a little more clear-headed. Their gazes flickered and did not dare to recklessly make a move. After all, they were not factions like the Great Devil Sect and Martial Alliance. When faced with a colossus like the ghastly puppet cult, they could not help but be a little more cautious. The ghastly puppet cult's intimidation had quite an effect on ordinary factions and practitioners, but for characters like Mu Lei and Wu Zong, it was completely useless. Thus, the two of them ignored his shout, Yuan power transforming into giant hands which directly grabbed at the black-colored light ball. Impudent. When he saw their actions, the left and right elders of the ghastly puppet cult were greatly enraged. They icily shouted as their figures charged forward with the intention of stopping the Mu Lei duo. Furthermore, after the 4 half-step to manifestation practitioners stepped forward, the left and right elders waved their sleeves as 2 figures appeared beside them. Without any hesitation, 100,000 pure Yuan pills straightaway transformed into surging Yuan power and entered the 2 figures. Immediately, a fiendish aura slowly spread out from the 2 figures. High-class symbol puppets. The 2 figures' appearance gave rise to some gasps. These auras were able to match up to half-step to manifestation practitioners. Are these the ghastly puppet cult's high-class symbol puppets hidden in a secret spot? Lin Dong was a little moved. According to the battle formation in the plaza, the ghastly puppet cult actually had 4 half-step to manifestation, 2 half-step to manifestation high-class symbol puppets, and 2 initial manifestation stage practitioners. Even Lin Dong was strongly affected by the ghastly puppet cult's lineup. The expressions of other practitioners, who originally had designs on the ghastly puppet cult's treasures, now rapidly fluctuated. The feet which were about to step forward were also stealthily withdrawn a little. No matter how chaotic the situation was now, the ghastly puppet cult's reputation was created through real might over the years. Even now, no one dared to look down on them at all. As the 4 half-step to manifestation practitioners and 2 high-class symbol puppets appeared, even the Great Devil Sect, Martial Alliance, and the 4 initial manifestation stage practitioners restrained themselves a little. This was after all the ghastly puppet cult's old nest, and even they dare not go too overboard. While they faced each other, Mu Lei's and Wu Zong's giant Yuan power hands had already appeared in the air above the black light ball. However, just as they were about to grab it, a figure appeared above the light ball like a ghost and punched out. Immediately, the overflowing Yuan power in the sky exploded and the 2 giant Yuan power hands were actually destroyed. Mu Lei, Wu Zong, do you really think my ghastly puppet cult is so easy to push around? After destroying the 2 giant Yuan power hands, the figure slowly lifted his head, a cold expression on his face. It was the ghastly puppet cult leader, Ting Sho. Evidently, he could not help but step in at the final moment. Ha, Ting Sho, you've hidden this treasure for so many years, shouldn't you take it out and share? Towards the fact that Ting Sho was able to destroy the duo's attacks with a single punch, Mulei was clearly a little astonished, but soon after, he heartily chuckled and said, "He, Mulei is right. Moreover, this thing is clearly a little strange. Even with your ghastly puppet cult's power, you are unable to break its seal. We might as well combine forces, maybe we will be able to obtain the treasure within." Wu Zong also laughed and said, "Limitless mysterious black body." Mulei's body suddenly swelled at this moment, his originally tiger back and bare waist body appeared even more like a giant's. The skin on his body swiftly turned a dark purple color, muscles squirming as a frightening power spread outwards. "We haven't fought for years. Ting Sho, let me see today how you've improved over these years." Great Thunder Mountain Palm. Mulei's laughter rang out like thunder as he suddenly punched out. The air exploded as a mountain-like fist force viciously whizzed towards Ting Sho, Devil Eagle Rend. The instant Mulei attacked, Wu Zong also heartily laughed as his hands curled into claws and suddenly reached out. Vigorous Yuan power gushed out and condensed into a formidable eagle claw that was several tens of meters large, bringing with it a formidable aura as it pierced the sky and clawed at Ting Sho. The simultaneous attack of two manifestation stage practitioners. This kind of power was world-shaking, hence, it instantly drew the attention of everyone. Two extremely powerful attacks at extremely high speeds. In the blank of an eye, they enveloped Ting Sho's body, causing him to be unable to dodge. However, in the face of two initial manifestation stage practitioners' attacks, Ting Sho's expression remained calm as he took a step forward and a simple punch flew forward. As Ting Sho's punch flew forth, a terrible woo-woo sound immediately took shape under his it. A humongous Yuan power skull instantly appeared, combining with Ting Sho's ordinary punch, as they firmly clashed against the Mulei duo's attacks. Under the attention of countless gazes, terrifying Yuan power undulations unfurled as a loud boom reverberated across the sky without end like thunder. The intense Yuan power undulations gradually dissipated, however, above the black-colored light ball, a figure silently stood, his gaze as cold as ice. Ting Sho had actually withstood two initial manifestation stage practitioners' attacks all alone, without being harmed at all. How is this possible? Outside Ghastly Puppet City, numerous shocked voices instantly erupted. No one could imagine that even Mulei's and Wu Zong's combined might was unable to repel Ting Sho. In the sky, the lead actors Mulei's and Wu Zong's pupils abruptly tightened at this moment as their expressions slowly turned grim. You had a breakthrough. Advanced manifestation stage. Ting Sho's strength was actually terrifying to such an extent. Advanced manifestation stage. This level was practically comparable to the masters of top-ranked factions in the Great Yang Empire. Although there was only a single word of difference between the initial and advanced manifestation stage, that difference was extremely humongous. At least, if Mulei and Wu Zong once again joined hands now, their chances of victory would not exceed 50%. The entire mysterious Black Yin Mountain instantly lapsed into silence. It was as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on the restless practitioners' heads, causing them to become clear-headed. The strength of the ghastly puppet cult, which possessed an advanced manifestation stage practitioner, would undoubtedly surpass the Great Devil Sect and Martial Alliance. At that time, whoever dared to offend them would undoubtedly be bringing about his own destruction. Advanced manifestation stage. Hidden in a secret spot, Lin Dong also lightly inhaled a breath of cold air at this moment as his hands slowly clenched. He had underestimated Ting Sho's strength. Advanced manifestation stage. This kind of strength was too formidable. The situation before his eyes had undoubtedly become extremely grim. Wanting to snatch away the devouring ancestral symbol under the advanced manifestation stage Ting Sho's eyes, the difficulty was akin to scaling the heavens. However, even if this was so, there was no option to give up. Deeply exhaling out a ball of white qi, Lin Dong's eyes slowly turned serious as a soft voice sounded out in his mind. Little Martin, prepare to make our move. Ting Sho, your strength has indeed exceeded our expectations. However, now that your ghastly puppet cult has revealed its major treasure, it is bound to attract attention. If your ghastly puppet cult is able to break the seal, it may be all right. However, let me ask you this, after your previous failure, are you still confident? Wu Zong's eyes glimmered, as he slowly said, you don't have to worry about me. Ting Sho's eyes flashed before he replied, Ting Sho, it is not a wise decision for you to speak such arrogant words. I believe that you truly value the treasure. Previously, you had a first-hand experience as to how tricky that item can be. With just your ghastly puppet cult alone, even if you spent another 10 years working on it, I am afraid that you will still be unable to break the seal. Why don't you choose to cooperate with us instead? That way, everyone benefits. Mulei opened his mouth and said, "Ha ha, Mulei is correct. Instead of keeping it for yourself, why don't we join forces and break the seal?" Muzong smiled as he said. The instant Ting Sha made his move, Mulei and the rest also utilized their yuan power, and 8 formidable yuan power light pillars, just like pillars supporting the heavens, penetrated through the sky and came crashing down together with a terrifying vibration. These yuan power light pillars moved extremely quickly. In a blink of an eye, they had descended towards the black glowing ball. However, as it faced the combined attack from these 9 manifestation stage practitioners, the Black Eye Elder calmly extended his finger and slowly pointed out. Under countless alarmed stares from the crowd, Ting Sha and the 8 elite practitioners hovering mid-air suddenly released a stifling sound from their throats, before all of them retreated several hundred meters immediately, while their facial expressions instantly turned quite interesting. Even with the combined forces of 9 manifestation stage practitioners, they were still unable to shake the seal left behind by the Black Eye Elder. This scene undoubtedly caused everyone to feel terrified. It seems like what the Black Eye Elder had said previously was indeed true. Without his permission, even if one found the ancestral devouring symbol, it was still useless. The entire mountain peak was now completely shattered. The arena had collapsed and the buildings had been blown apart. Meanwhile, several elite ghastly puppet cult practitioners were moaning on the ground. Evidently, several of them were injured. Under countless derisive stares from the crowd, the lightning-quick figure appeared above the glowing black ball. His eyes stared right at the Black Eye Elder that was hovering on a glowing disc, while his eyes began to glimmer manically. That figure that suddenly dashed out was naturally Lin Dong, who had been hidden for a while. The current ghastly puppet cult was at its most disordered moment. The previous violent clash had upset the yuan power inside Ting Sha and the other elite practitioners. Therefore, it was the best time for him to make a move. Lin Dong's figure appeared above the Black Eye Elder. Just as it sensed someone approaching it, the figure lifted his head coldly. Then, under countless pitiful stares, it once again extended its finger, which symbolized death, and gradually pointed it at Lin Dong. What an arrogant fellow. Thea's dazed state did not last for long. In the next instant, the left and right elders let loose a mournful howl of shock, which exploded in the sky like thunder. Sect leader, the fellow is somewhat strange. The strange symbol floating in his hand previously seemed to be able to ignore the seal. If we can obtain it, we will definitely be able to break the seal. Although the Ting Sha at this moment was like a bomb that was about to explode, the left and right elders were clearly cunning old foxes, and hastily spoke, "Right, we cannot let that fellow escape." Upon hearing the left and right elders' words, the soaring rage in Ting Sha's eyes suddenly paused. Soon after, rapt ecstasy suddenly surfaced on his face as his incomparably sinister gaze looked towards the swiftly fleeing Burry figure while he eerily chuckled. "Don't worry, he cannot escape." Bang! Just as Ting Sha's chuckle landed, without waiting for the left and right elders to reply, his body suddenly exploded with a bang sound. A blurry after image appeared where he once stood, and his body had already disappeared like a ghost. Catch that fellow. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.